All right, welcome. This is everything you need to know about the solar installation system and process. This is taken right out of my book, The Definitive Guide to Residential Solar in the U.S., which you can learn about by visiting thenetzerohome.com. Okay, so step one, after the contract is signed, right? Step one of the installation process, is to do a site inspection or a site audit. Now, some solar companies may try to reduce their labor costs by doing a virtual site inspection, requiring pictures and things like that. However, I believe that a $30,000 to $80,000 construction project requires an actual human being or multiple humans visiting the home, getting up on the roof, checking out the electrical system, and giving the green light to the project before the actual installation of solar panels. I think that by doing a virtual site inspection, you're opening yourself up to a lot of potential problems down the road, and those are going to be problems for you, the homeowner, not necessarily the solar company that sold it to you, because by then, you've already signed the contract, and it's the deal is long done. Avoid that costly mistake by going with a solar installer that does a physical site inspection as opposed to a virtual one. Okay, so the installer may notice things like roof damage that only impacts a certain plane of the roof that might not have been visible to a picture, right? Or that the electrical panel will require an upgrade before making the switch to solar. Again, things that you can avoid by doing a physical site inspection that may not even become an issue until years and years down the road, right? If you do decide to cut costs by going with a solar company that offers a virtual site inspection, I would also hire a lawyer to go through your contract with a fine-tooth comb and make sure that you and your home are protected if anything does go wrong 5, 10, 20 years down the road. Okay, so step two of the solar system installation process is the system has to is the design of the system, like the final virtual design of the system. So the system has to be designed virtually based on the information in the site audit report. This is where the installer will make the final decision about the exact placement of the panels and the integration of the electrical system. Once the system is designed and the site audit is complete, we'll typically schedule a Zoom meeting with the homeowner, or reputable solar advisors will schedule a Zoom meeting with the homeowner so that they can give the final green light and approve the scope of work prior to permitting and the final installation of the panels. Okay, so step two, system design. Step three is permitting, right? Once the site inspection is complete and the system has been designed, it is now time to submit the permits to the city or the county. Permits could be approved in as little as a few days or as much as a couple months, depending on where you live. I actually recently heard a story about a county in Florida where this woman who handled all the permits for solar was very old, and she didn't like solar personally, and she was like the final person who signed off on all the permits. She had up to 180 days to do it, so every single time she would wait until the 180th day. I mean, it's just crazy that one person's opinion of solar is going to impact all of these different solar installations in this county in Florida because this one lady just didn't like solar. She wasn't a personal fan of it, right? So she delayed the process, and those are the kinds of things that can delay a solar installation because of one person's opinion in one permitting office, right? So the city or the county, can certainly slow down the process, or if they're in a more solar friendly area, they can speed up the process, right? If you're part of an HOA, a homeowner association, the HOA will also need to approve the system, and that's typically done during the permitting process, as the city or the county will usually want to see approval from the HOA before they will finalize and release your permits. So that's another thing that can slow the installation process. Is if the HOA is dragging their feet, then and the permits, the county or the city that's providing the permits is not going to do it until the HOA approves on it. That can also slow the process down a little bit, right? And then step 4 is the actual system installation, the actual installation of the solar system. So this part of the process, usually takes between 1 and 3 days once all those other things are done, right? Depending on the size of your solar system and the complexity of the job, right? Obviously, factors like extremely steep roof planes, multiple planes, or other home or roof features can slow the construction or installation process. I mean, weather can certainly slow it down. If it's the middle of the winter, they're not going to install hurricanes in a blizzard, right? If you live like where I do in Colorado, this is one of the main reasons why an in-person site audit is so important, so that they can check and make sure everything is hunky-dory before they give the final approval for the actual installation of the panels. Otherwise, again, you're opening the door to lots of problems down the road, right? Problems that you probably won't even notice right away, until years down the road. It's just one of the ways that homeowners can really find themselves in a less than advantageous position by not choosing the right solar installer and by not going with a reputable solar company. So because of the detailed pre-installation process detailed above, the actual installation process is pretty fast and simple. Like I said, it just takes a crew 1 to 3 days depending on the complexity of the job. Okay, then step 5 is permission to operate, or PTO. The final step in the process prior to the actual installation and construction of a solar system is called permission to operate. Okay, essentially this is your utility company verifying all the necessary documents and approving the proposed electrical work. The timeline for this depends on your utility company, the state you live in, and other factors such as the time of the year, right? So since PTO happens after the installation of the panels, the final step of the process after the actual installation and construction of a solar system is called permission to operate, or PTO. Essentially, this is your utility company verifying all the necessary documents and approving the proposed electrical work. The timeline for this depends on your utility company, the state you live in, and other factors such as the time of the year, right? So since PTO happens after the installation of the solar system, your solar system will start producing energy only after the PTO is submitted and approved by the utility company. That is, of course, if you're using the utility company, as a virtual battery, the way that we, recommend if you're not going with, solar batteries, right? So again, we've got a ton more information about, residential solar system installation, things to beware of. A lot of really good information about residential solar and how to save as much money as possible and avoid certain things that have gotten homeowners in a bad position in solar in the past. It's all in this book. Visit thenetzerohome.com to get your copy of the definitive guide to residential solar in the U.S. And if you have any questions, type them down below below this video, and I'll do my best to answer any questions that you have based on solar installation or any other aspect of residential solar. Enjoy. Talk to you soon.